Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch with Lisa. We're starting a little later today than usual, but here we are. Today, I want to talk about what I call the latest guy is the greatest guy mentality in dating. And this is something that I see quite a lot when I'm talking to women on breakthrough calls. There are women who watch my free 45-minute presentation, and you can find that by going to lisashield.com, and you will see the button to click to watch the presentation all over my website. Please drop in and look at that. If you feel like you're a match for the kind of work I do and you really want to get this solved, we can hop on a call. We call it a breakthrough call and talk about how I can help you get this solved. So this greatest guy or latest guy is the greatest guy mentality is something you all really have to watch out for. And I hear it all the time. And it's such an indicator that women are so naive in this part of our lives, and that we put so much faith in fantasies and fairy tales. And it's really, I think, the greatest lie that's perpetrated upon mankind is this idea that we're just going to, the next guy is going to be this perfect match, and we are going to fall in love and live happily ever after, even though we see nothing but disastrous relationships all around us, everywhere we look, in our own lives, in our children's lives, in our parents' lives. And we keep thinking that, no, we are special. We're going to have this perfect relationship. And if we go on enough dates, and if we're good enough, and if we do enough self-help work or do enough therapy, then our lives are going to change. We're going to meet this wonderful man, and we're going to be that special woman who's going to live happily ever after. So a lot of times I'm on these breakthrough calls with women, and I will be I'll be talking to them, and they and they'll say, well, tell me about your course. And we'll get to the part in this hour and a half call where I share with them, how the course works. And one of the things I will say, and this is especially with a lot of the younger women, I'll say, okay, so in the first month, there's no dating. And I just see the look on their faces. Well, what do? I just started communicating with this guy on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge. And, we're communicating and we're supposed to go out. And, I can hear all the hope and the promise of that potential connection. And it's almost as if it's not grounded in reality. Anybody who knows me, anybody who's ever coached with me knows that I am the most grounded, practical person, and I tend to be very pragmatic about things, which is something I really invite all of you to bring to your dating, is a healthy dose of pragmatism, because let's be real. The likelihood of you having had a pretty dismal history of relationships with men, and that is, if you're one of my clients, you know what I mean. Most of the women who come and hire me as a coach are women who have had failed relationships, one after another, a narcissist, an alcoholic, a this guy, a that guy, but they've never really been in a truly loving, co-committed, beautiful relationship with a secure man. They've never been in a wonderful, thriving, passionate, loving partnership with a man who's an equal and who is secure, who has a secure attachment style and is emotionally available. And so those are my clients. And if you are one of those women, which I can definitely say I was before I got this figured out and met my husband, who I've been with for over 20 years. So I get it. We just want to be positive. We want to be optimistic. We tell ourselves that we are growth minded and that, every relationship is a learning experience, which it is. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't have the right tools and if you're not looking for the right things, you're going to keep having learning experiences, but you're never going to get this solved because that's the slow boat to China. So you got to have the right insight, the right wisdom. You have to know, what to look for. And most of you don't. So you're going into online dating, with a lot of false hope or what I call toxic positivity. I didn't make up that term either. I have to find out who did make up that term because she wrote a wonderful book about toxic positivity and how many of us in the New Age era have been taught to be so overly positive that we're not realistic about things. And like I said, I think we have to be pragmatic and realistic. And the likelihood of a woman who's never been successful in this part of her life just going out and somehow meeting a prince with a glass slipper and living happily ever after, for the next 30, 40, 50 years is highly unlikely. And what's amazing to me as a coach who's been doing this work, hi Siham, I have a wonderful client here who I know is listening in, so it's great to see you. I know that we can get this solved. But I also know anybody who's ever made any major transformation in her life, any major change, knows the amount of hard work it took to be able to do that. And that's really the truth. We don't make radical changes in our lives without taking those parts of our lives seriously and doing the necessary work to put those changes in place, to put those new structures or build those structures into our life so that we can transform those parts of our lives. And most of us are not doing that in our love lives. We have been lied to and told that, we just have to be ourselves and learn to love ourselves and do all this work and, learn how to be playful, and all of these things are helpful. But if you only have pieces of the puzzle and you don't have the whole puzzle to get this solved, and there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle, by the way, it's not just about communication. It's not just about understanding men. It's not just about being fit and physically attractive. There's a lot of different components to solving this part of our lives, to having a healthy, thriving, magnificent, loving, lasting partnership with the opposite sex. There's so many pieces to this, and most of us are just waiting for a miracle. We've been told that this is just supposed to happen, and that when we meet the right person, he will love you and you will love him, and all will be right in the world. And that's not the way it works. There is no latest guy is the greatest guy, the one that's going to turn out to be the one, without you doing the right work. And I know a lot of you are like, well, look, lady, I've been doing the work. Like, cut me some slack here. Okay, my question for you is, are you doing the right work? Because we can be working on something. I know in my business, I can be spending hours and hours and hours of my life writing emails and, and blog posts, when I could be doing much more effective things to grow my business. Sure, those emails and those blog posts help. People read them, but there are trained writers, skilled writers who I can hire and, Even if I do write a rough draft, I can hand it off to a skilled writer who's a good editor so that I'm not sitting there spending hours of my precious time writing blog posts. And that's essentially what you're doing. You're reading books and you're, taking self-help workshops and going to therapy, which is all fine and good. I'm not saying those are not useful things, but I'm telling you that they are not a solution to your love life. They will not solve this problem. And so you have the illusion that you're getting smarter and you're learning more and you are, but it's not taking you directly where you want to go. And this is what I realized after 6 years of doing personal growth work. I had been, and I'm telling you, it was some good stuff. Like I was doing great work on myself. I look back and, a couple of the programs or the things that I did don't exist any longer, at least not in the way I did them. I got my master's degree at a school called USM, University of Santa Monica. And I got a master's in spiritual psychology. And that program no longer exists in the way it did when I did it. They lost their accreditation. They aren't able to do master's degrees anymore. And I think they've cut it down to a 1-year virtual course. So, that was great work. I mean, I was so fortunate to do that, to go through that program. And then I was also a student of Don Miguel Ruiz. His sons are now teaching in his place, but, working with the man himself, going on retreats with Don Miguel and, being able to, Miguel we had something called dreaming. It was really amazing. We would go away with Miguel once a month. I did it for an entire year, but I think the dreaming went on for many years. I just did it for 1 year because then I met Benjamin, the love of my life, and I was focusing more on our relationship and being with him. But I used to go and do dreaming every month for a year with Miguel, and I went on retreats and I went to weekend workshops with him, all of which he doesn't really do anymore. So that was also precious, beautiful, personal work that I was doing on myself. But here's the thing, for whatever reason, in the back of my mind, the one thing I wanted more than anything, was I wanted to find true love. I wanted a partner to share my life with me. I wanted an extraordinary relationship. And I was doing all this personal growth work, and I liked myself better. My life was getting better. I was, all of these pieces of my life were coming into focus. But I still, after 6 years, had not met the love of my life. And I had thought, oh, surely in the work with Don Miguel or doing this thing or that thing, I would certainly come into contact with my guy. And I didn't. The ironic thing is, Benjamin actually wrote one of the books we read in my spiritual psychology master's program, ironically. But I didn't meet him at USM. And so I did all this great work, but it wasn't getting me closer to finding my guy. And the great news was that internet dating had just, really started to catch fire. It had been around for a while, but it was really starting to ramp up. And I just thought, wow, I have blocks when it comes to men. I'm blocked, and I really, really, really need to look at this because I can imagine the relationship I want, but mentally, emotionally, I was very far away from feeling confident. If that man had sat down in front of me on a date, I knew that I would not have the self-confidence to step into that relationship. it's very easy to go on dates and sit there and focus on, oh, this guy doesn't have what I want, and that guy doesn't have what I want, and oh, God, can I ever find a guy who has what I want? And that's what many of you are doing. You're focusing on, all the guys that don't have what you want. But the thing I think a lot of women don't realize is it's a whole different thing when the kind of guy you do want sits in front of you. And the truth is, you may meet some of those guys and they may not be calling you back for whatever reasons. So I'm sure, like, I couldn't name names, but I'm positive I must have met some really great guys while I was out dating. And for whatever reasons, I didn't have the clarity or the wherewithal to be able to realize or step into or step up, and that guy just wasn't attracted to me. He could see that I wasn't the kind of woman he was looking for. So I knew that I really needed to learn how to be with men, how to connect with them. And I'm not talking about all these games we play and lies we tell ourselves and all. And I'm also, look, I know a lot of women who have this idea that, oh, well, I'm, so accomplished and I frighten men, or, there's no men on my level, or whatever the hell lies you're telling yourself. But the truth is, there are men on your level. There are great guys out there. There really are. And I think it is a lie. And I think it's bullshit that we tell ourselves that they're not out there. Well, maybe they are out there. And what if they're just not attracted to you? What if those men exist and they really do exist? And the ones who you're attracting, you may not like it. It may not be what you want to hear. But what if those guys actually do exist? Because it's impossible that they don't. I'm just telling you, it's absolutely impossible that there are not great men out there. But it is up to us to do the work to find them. And it is up to us to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, is it really true that these men don't exist? Or is it that I still might have some work to do on myself in order to attract the man I'm really looking for? Because here's the deal. I'm pretty honest with myself. And I said, the proof is in the pudding. Like, if I already had my act together and I was so flippin' fabulous, that guy would have shown up, because there are guys out there looking for those fabulous women, and they're going to grab them when they see them. And men weren't grabbing for me. So it wasn't that I'm not fabulous, because I'm going to tell you something, I am pretty fabulous. I really love who I am. I love the woman I've become. But I wasn't fabulous with men. I wasn't. And you've got to let go of that lie that you tell, well, I have no trouble getting dates and men really like me, and whatever you're telling yourself. You might get one date after another and not have any trouble getting dates. You may get second dates and third dates, but are you getting dates with the caliber of men you want to get dates with? Are you meeting men who meet your criteria and want to explore a relationship with you? Because those men are out there. And, you may be like me. I mean, once I got clear on this whole process and I knew who I was and what I was looking for and what I would and wouldn't settle for, this is the difference between me and a lot of other women out there. I knew that I was looking for someone extraordinary, but I knew he was out there and I was committed to finding him. And I'm telling you, I went on 96 first dates over 2 years. And yes, there were some times where I got frustrated and where it was hard and where I told myself, come on already. Like, what the hell? But I got myself back out there and I kept going, and quitting wasn't an option. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I knew when a no was a no and a yes was a yes. And I didn't sit there and, even if I liked someone and it wasn't mutual, then I kept going. But I tried to not make it hard on myself or be hard on myself, and I got outside of all those stories that it wasn't possible and he wasn't out there, and I was looking for a needle in a haystack, or I was too picky. No, I was committed. I was committed. And I knew that I, had stuff to learn and things to work through and work out. And most of all, I really knew that few men and women really know how to get emotionally naked and co-create a partnership together. This is something that few of us know how to do well and successfully. We want a great relationship, but yet we don't do the work in this part of our lives to really master these skills. And so that's why most of us don't have it. I mean, I may never be a Mozart, but I could learn to play the piano damn well if I really had the wherewithal to sit there and learn how to do it. But most of us, we quit, we give up, or we settle before we really get good at something. And that's the truth. We have these lofty ideals. I mean, think about anybody who's listening right now and is really, really successful at what you do. Think about it. How many hours of your life, how many years, how much money did you invest in courses, in training, in your education, to be able to be good at what you do, to be a top realtor or an investment banker or whatever. You invested and you stuck in there. You stuck in there and you didn't quit. You didn't quit. You wanted to be the best and you didn't stop. You kept going. Maybe it was your kids that drove you, putting food on the table and knowing that they didn't have a father and that you had to be good at what you did because you had children relying on you. But you did it and you made it happen. Or maybe you had something to prove to yourself or to your parents, but something kept driving you to excel. That's how I felt in this part of my life. My parents hated each other. They hated each other. They fought and screamed and yelled and said horrible things to one another. And it didn't matter that I had pretty clothes and, they had fancy cars and we belonged to a country club. None of that mattered because my parents hated each other and it was hell living in my house growing up with them. And I didn't want that to be my legacy. I didn't want that to. I wanted to live a life in love. And so that's what I dedicated my life to. Most of the choices I've made, both in my career and in my personal life, have been leading me to that, to really mastering the art of loving and being loved, learning how to really love. In fact, I was in a 12-step meeting. I went there because I had issues with food. And I was in a group meditation. I was simultaneously reading The Power of Now. And I had the most extraordinary experience. Um, I had always thought that unconditional love was this ideal, something we strived for but could never attain, and I thought you had to be perfect or a master in order to have that. And Eckhart Tolle, just writes about the eternal now. That's all. This moment is all we've got, and it's gone, and it's gone, and it's gone. But when I put those two pieces together, I realized all the spiritual paths and traditions that guide us to unconditional love or God, right? They're synonymous. They're guiding us to God or unconditional love, and they're showing us how to get there. And every time I've taken the spiritual path, it's always been felt like the right thing to do. And I realized that these spiritual paths are showing us how to find unconditional love now, right now. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to find unconditional love. I'm going to start dating. And I went on these dates. It was kind of cool. And I would say to myself, so what is unconditional love? And if I want to receive unconditional love, how would that work? How would that look? Who would I need to be in order to have that, right? In order for somebody to, for me to truly be able to receive unconditional love from another person, how does that work? And I started asking myself these questions. And I'm not going to give you the answers because that's part of what I teach you in my 12-week course is how to make that happen, how to be the kind of woman, who can love and be loved unconditionally. But I unraveled how to do this, how to find that and be that and, create that with my husband. So yeah. Anyway, we keep thinking that this is a dream, that this is something that we're just gonna one day wake up and our true love will have appeared and we will live happily ever after, like a fairy tale. And, I will tell you, having a truly loving partner to go through this life with is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself. But it's not magic. It's something you can create in your life by doing the right work on yourself to have it and not going on endless dates and wasting more of this precious life trying to figure this out, on your own. Like, how many more years of your life do you want to waste? If you knew there was a true solution for getting this solved, that somebody could actually give you a step-by-step plan and you could go out and date, and in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months, you could be with the guardian of your soul. So no matter how many more years you have left, you don't have to spend them watching YouTube videos and reading self-help books when what you really want to be doing is like lying in the arms of your man or in your bedroom having wild sex or going to the farmer's market on Sunday morning and buying a bunch of beautiful food and coming home and cooking it together. That's the life you really want. And that's the life I can show you how to have. I did the hard work. I found the guy, and I've helped hundreds of other women do this too. So here's what I want to ask you to do. Don't just get off this podcast and go back to doing what you always do. Go to lisashield.com. Click the button to watch my free 45-minute presentation. If you feel, and I want you to listen very carefully for the criteria, I'm looking for in a client. I want you to listen to that. And I want you to ask yourself if you're genuinely a fit to work with me. And to be a fit, that means that you are a smart, successful single woman who has almost everything else she wants in life except true love. You've been wasting time trying to figure this out on your own and you're done. You just want to get this solved. You're ready to meet your guy. And you know you need help to do that. And you are willing to invest time and money in getting this solved. And you're not afraid to do that, to get resourceful and make this a top priority. Now, if that sounds like you, you're a fit to become one of my clients. So go watch my free 45-minute presentation, sign up for a breakthrough call, wait. When you book the call, right after that is a short application that must be filled out. We will not talk to anybody who doesn't fill out the application and confirm the call. All right? We're serious about this, and you need to be serious too. Also, please rate and like this podcast and rate and like my YouTube channel. Tell your friends, tell your sisters, your daughters, your mothers about Dating Without Drama. I put out 2 episodes a week. One is Lunch with Lisa, and the other is Getting Inside the Right Male Mind with my husband, Benjamin Shield. I feel like we're genuinely saying something that you won't hear anywhere else. So please, let's get the word out. Tell everyone you know. I'm Lisa Shield. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.